Good morning, class. Today we are working on Unit 3, Lesson 6, homework, and today we are multiplying a fraction by a mixed number. And you'll remember part of this from Unit 1, but you need to convert your mixed number to an improper fraction before you can multiply the two together. So let's go ahead and practice this again. I know you've seen it before, but we're going to review it and practice it again. We have in number 1, 3/7 times 2 1/2. And remember, when multiplying a fraction by a mixed number, you have to convert that mixed number into a fraction. And the way that we're going to do this, I'm going to write this mixed number down here so that we can practice it together. What you do is you take the denominator and you multiply the denominator by the whole number, and then you add your answer to the numerator. Okay, so 2 times 2 is equal to 4. Okay, and then you take that 4 and you add whatever the numerator is to it. So 5. So then what you're left with is 5/2. And now what you have is 3/7 times 5/2, and you can multiply straight across. 3 times 5 is equal to 15, and 7 times 2 is equal to 14. This leaves you with an improper fraction, and you have 15/14. Improper fraction means the numerator is larger than the denominator. So 14 can go into 15 one time without going over, and 14 goes into 15 with 1 left, and you write that over your original denominator, which was 14. So you end up with 1 1/14. Okay, we're going to go ahead and we will do another one as practice together. Number 2, we have 1 7/10 times 5. Okay, we need to convert the mixed number 1 7/10 into a fraction. In order to do that, we have to multiply the denominator by the whole number. So I multiply here. 1 times 10 is equal to 10, and then I add that 10 to 7. So I'm left with 17/10 times 5, and in order to write 5 as a fraction, I write 5/1. This is a good practice for us because this is one where we can cross reduce, because 5 is a factor of 10. 5 times 2 is 10. So 5 can go into 5 one time, and 5 can go into 10 two times. So now what I have is 17 times 1 is equal to 17, and 2 times 1 is equal to 2. And so I'm left with the fraction 17/2, and I can simplify that because that is an improper fraction, and I can say to myself 2 can go into 17 8 times because 8 times 2 is equal to 16, so 2 can go into 17 8 times, which gets me 16, so I'm left with 1 remainder of 1/2. So I'm 8 1/2. Keep practicing together, and in our class lesson today we will be practicing converting mixed numbers to fractions as well. Let's go ahead and move to number 3. Number 3, we have 2 2/3 times 4 1/5, and so we have to convert both of these mixed numbers to fractions in order to multiply. So let's go ahead and look at 2 2/3 first. 3 times 2 is equal to 6, plus the 2 is equal to 8, so I have 8, and my denominator stays the same, so I have 8/3, and then I'm going to go ahead and look at the mixed number, 4 1/5. 5 times 4 is equal to 20, plus your 1 is equal to 21, and again my denominator stays the same, so I have 21/5. And now I can multiply, but this is another situation where we can cross reduce to make it a little bit easier, because 3 is a factor of 21. 3 times 7 is equal to 21. So 3 can go into 3 one time, and 3 can go into 21 7 times. So now I have 8/1 times 7/5. Now I can multiply straight across. 8 times 7 is equal to 56, and 1 times 5 is equal to 5. And I can now reduce or simplify because we have an improper fraction here. 5 can go into 56 11 times because 5 times 11 is equal to 55. And so I'm left with a remainder of 1, which becomes my numerator, and my denominator stays the same. So my answer is 11 and 1/5. All right, we're going to look at number 4. We'll do that one together as well. We have 5 and 1/3 times 3/8. I need to take my mixed number and make it into a fraction. And in order to do that, I take my denominator and I multiply it by my whole number. 3 times 5 is equal to 15. And then I add the numerator, so it's 16. And then the denominator stays the same. So 16 over 3 times 3 over 8. And this is one where I can cross-reduce both ways, which is great. 3 and 3 are obviously factors of each other. They're the same number, so 3 can go into 3 one time. 3 can go into 3 one time. And then I can look the other way, and I see that 16 and 8, 8 is a factor of 16 because 8 times 2 is equal to 16. So 8 can go into 8 one time, and 8 can go into 16 two times. So now what I have is 2 over 1 times 1 over 1. And I multiply straight across. 2 times 1 is 2, and 1 times 1 is 1. And 1 can go into 2 two times, so this leaves me with a whole number of 2. And my answer for number 4 is 2. Right now, I have completed the first half of the top of the page with you. And now we'll look at one of the word problems or story problems. Number 9, the bottom of Zeta's jewelry box is a rectangle with a length 5, 3 3/8 inches and a width 3 4 inches. What is the area of the bottom of the jewelry box? When we're trying to find area, area is equal to length times width. And so what we have here is a multiplication problem, and we have 5 3/8 times 3 1/4. And we have to convert both of those mixed numbers to fractions. And we do that, we take the denominator and multiply it by the whole number. 8 times 5 is equal to 40. And then I need to add my numerator, which is 3. So I have 43 over 8. And I'm going to multiply that by the other mixed number, and I'm going to convert it into a fraction as well. And I take the denominator of 4 and I multiply it by the whole number of 3. 4 times 3 is equal to 12. And then I add in the numerator, which is 13. So I have 13 over, and then remember, it's going to be 13 over 4 because the denominator stays the same. This is going to be a problem where I have 43, and I have to multiply that by 13. Okay, 3 times 3 is equal to 9. 4 times 3 is equal to 12. Okay, and I put down my placeholder. 1 times 3 is equal to 3. 4 times 1 is equal to 4, and then I need to add. 9 plus nothing is 9. 2 plus 3 is equal to 5, and 1 plus 4 is equal to 5. So my top number, 43 times 13, is equal to 559. And my bottom number, 8 times 4, is equal to 32. Now I'm going to have to take this a step further, and I have to figure out how many times can 32 go into 559 without going over. I'm going to write this as a division problem. 559 divided by 32. And I know 32 cannot go into 5, and 32 can go into 55 one time. And so 32 times 1 is 32, so I need to line it up and subtract. 5 minus 2 is equal to 3, and 5 minus 3 is equal to 2. And I can do my check. 23 is less than 32, so I'm on the right track still. Now I need to bring down my 9. Figure out how many times 32 can go into 239. In order to do this, I would look at 32 and say, using some estimation, 32 is pretty close to 30. So I could ask myself, how many times can 32 go into 239? Well, 239 is really close to 240, so 30 can go into 240 8 times, because 8 is 24, so that would give me 240, so it might be too high. So 8 might be too high, so I am going to guesstimate or estimate that 32 times 7 is going to get me pretty close to that 239. Let's find out. 7 times 2 is equal to 14. Put down my 4, carry my 1. 7 times 3 is equal to 21, plus 1 is 22. So 224. And yes, that's going to be my number. It is going to be 7. And I am going to now subtract 224 from my 239. 9 minus 4 is equal to 5, 3 minus 2 is equal to 1, and 2 minus 2 is equal to 0. And I can do my check here. 15 here is less than 32, so I'm safe. Now, what I have here up top is I have 17 as my answer with a remainder of 15. And how I write that is equals 17, and I take my remainder, which is my 15, and I write it over, okay, my original denominator, which was 32. So my answer for this is going to be 7 and 15 30-seconds, and it's going to be square inches. So when you write it on the line, it's 17 and 15 over 32 and square, SQ, inches, IN. All right, so remember, a lot of these have multiple steps, or actually all of them have multiple steps. So make sure you take your time and you solve them completely. Make sure you include your labels in 9, 10, and 11. You can go ahead and finish the rest of the page on your own. When you've finished it, take a picture of it, attach it to your assignment, and turn it in on Teams. Thank you.